Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Now today we've got an interesting one. Every year I do a Premier League predictions video at the beginning of the season, and at the end of the season I occasionally do a reacting to it because I like to see where I've gone right, where I've gone wrong, and hopefully I can get my skills improved for next season. But anyway, today as I'm recording this, the season ended and my team Chelsea finished 4th, so I'm very happy about that. Would prefer to come 3rd above United, but nevertheless goal difference is a savage thing and we got there. Let me know down below in the comments what team you support and whether they came in a place that you wanted to, or if did they do good or bad. Let me know down below. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing because soon, in about a month's time, we'll be doing a Premier League predictions for next season and you don't want to miss that. We're trying to also hit 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could help us get there, it'd be fantastic. And of course, as well as subscribing, drop a like on the video. It'd be massively appreciated. Show me you enjoy the content. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from the bottom of the table up, showing them their positions this season, and then we're going to show them my prediction, and then we're going to see the difference between my prediction and their actual position. Right, so the 3 teams that were relegated this season were Norwich, Watford and Bournemouth, as you can see there. Norwich coming last. Now, where did I predict Norwich? I predicted them 19th. Now, this wasn't bad at all. Quite a good prediction, only one off. I knew they were not going to be fit enough for the Premier League because I believe that their manager and their club have a 5-year plan intact, and I think they're in the 3rd year of that plan. They weren't actually planning to come up to the Premier League this season. They were going to wait till about 2 seasons time, so they were happy to come to the Premier League and play their style of football, this attacking, quite arrogant, stubborn style of football, even against the bigger teams, because all they wanted to do was improve as a club, get the Premier League money, and they were going to be great. So I reckon they're going to have a brilliant year in the Championship next year, build up their squad, build up this team, and then in 2 years you'll see them back in the Premier League and they'll be a much bigger force to deal with. Now this is one of my biggest shockers at 19th. Watford finished 19th. Troy Deeney and his men have been relegated, and I actually predicted them to be 9th. Now the reason I did this is because I genuinely think they have quite a mid-table standard squad. Like Troy Deeney, although he on his later years, but he is nevertheless a good Premier League striker that can bang a couple of goals in. They have fantastic players like Decore in the midfield. They have a great keeper in Ben Foster. Their defence is all round solid. They're not a Championship level team, in my opinion. I think they're a Premier League team, and that's why I thought they were just going to have one of those seasons where they've got their manager. Obviously they sacked 2 managers this season, but they've got the manager and they're just going to go full steam ahead. So I got this one massively wrong, but I don't think anyone can definitely say they expected the start of the season Watford to go down. Another one I got really wrong was Bournemouth. I predicted to become 11th. I thought I was going to say Eddie Howe had got his tactics all sorted, and this was going to be one of their best seasons, finished 11th. I thought Ryan Fraser was going to do some unreal bits, but sadly he hasn't been around that much, and when he was playing he was alright. They just didn't have you know, that final instinct, that killer instinct that you really need to not get relegated from the Prem. So I got that 7 positions wrong. Predicted them to come mid-table at 11th, which I thought they would. I thought Bournemouth and Watford were both really good mid-table sides, but they've both really disappointed this season. Moving on to 17th to 14th. Next we have Villa, a team I got 3 wrong. I put Villa at 14th in my prediction because I thought they were going to be the strongest of the teams that got promoted. Obviously I have a bit of bias because Terry works there and I'm a Chelsea fan. But in general, I thought they were lucky to escape, yes, and I think they can definitely improve in the next couple of seasons. But yeah, 14th, 17th isn't that much of a difference. I'm not that displeased with them. I just did think they were going to do a lot better than they actually did. I suppose what I forgot was how much they rely on Jack Grealish. If they are going to keep Jack Grealish, they need to get better players around him, because with Jack Grealish and a couple of other great players, they could do bits. West Ham are another team that I overestimated. I thought they were going to come 12th. They came 16th. They could have easily been relegated as well. They had some clutch performance, including a win against Chelsea towards the end of the season. Yeah, a team that really struggled this year. I thought they were going to take it into their own stride this year and be great. They had some great signings. I thought Sebastian Haller was going to be a lot better than he actually was. I thought players like Yarmolenko and those kind of players were really going to step up. Bowen was a great signing from the Championship. Sadly, they just didn't deliver. Also, they have David Moyes as manager, and as much respect for I have as some of the things he did at Everton, he's not the guy anymore. They need another great man in charge. Next, we have Brighton, a team that I have quite a soft spot for. I got their prediction just wrong by 1. So Brighton, I thought they were going to become 16th and they came 15th. So I think Brighton have done really well with the squad they have. They brought in some great players for their level, and I think they'll stick. Next season, my prediction, Brighton will be again in that 10th to 15th slot. I think 10th to 15th, 10th to 16th slot, because that is where they really belong. That's their level of play, and they're a great team to have in the Premier League, in my opinion. Next, another one I did really quite well on was Palace. I got that only wrong by 1. I predicted them 13th, they came 14th. Roy Hodgson's actually a brilliant manager, despite the fact he's somewhere over the age of 70. And a lot of people have negative opinions on him since he managed England. Nevertheless, I thought Palace would do alright. They have a strong team. They have got players like Zaha, who they rely on, who's a good mid-table player. They've got some just great players like Ayew up front. When I say great, I don't mean great in terms of the grand scale of Premier League. I mean great in terms of Palace's level. Players that will keep them at this 13th, 14th kind of position. I think next season Palace again will do something similar to Brighton. They'll stay in that bracket of teams just because they have enough quality to always guarantee themselves up. And with players like Gary Cahill coming in this year, I think him and the rest of that defence really guided them to some good success. Right, the next 3 are 3 that I got quite badly wrong. All 3 of them I got wrong in terms of a division of 4. So Newcastle, I predicted them to go down the 17th. And they got 13th. Now, I actually rate Steve Bruce as a manager, and if you watch my predictions video, I said I'll be either wrong with this. Newcastle will either get relegated or be mid-table. And I was kind of wrong with both, because yes, they are kind of mid-table, but they weren't fully mid-table. They weren't around 10th. I think Steve Bruce is actually quite an underrated manager. I think he's never going to get your team now to like a 5th to 8th position, but he will avoid relegation, guaranteed. They've done really well, and a fantastic keeper in Dubravka. They've done really well to actually get 13th. So I think Steve Bruce should definitely be giving another year. I don't know what's going to happen about the financial takeover. Apparently it's not even happening anymore. But yeah, Newcastle have done really well this season. Everton are a team that have disappointed me this year. I predicted them to be 8th, and they are actually 12th. Didn't deliver. I think their start of the season obviously wasn't as good. Now Ancelotti is there. He obviously has helped them a lot. I think they were undefeated until the last game of the season today, where they got beaten by Bournemouth. So yeah, disappointing from Everton. I think my prediction of 8th was quite fair with their squad and the way they were looking, but 12th is a bad season for them. And Southampton, I predicted 15th, just avoiding relegation, and they did brilliantly, finishing 11th. With players like Danny Ings just delivering so much more than people thought he would. Moving on to the top 10, we have 10th till 5th. Now, we have a couple of shockers in here, starting with Burnley. I thought Burnley would be the first team to escape relegation at 17th. They came 10th. Sean Dyche is a footballing magician. Now, I don't like Burnley, I'll be honest with you. I'm like Will from In-Betweeners. If you know, you know. They delivered this season. Their defence and Nick Pope in goal has been so resilient. It's been outrageously impressive. And the fact that towards the end of the season, they only had about 15 squad players and they were still drawing with some great teams. Hats off to them, honestly. As people call them anti-football, they are really good at what they do, and that is honestly following up to the next team, Sheffield United, who came 9th. And I predicted them to come dead last, so that's a plus 11 from them, from my prediction. Completely fair to them. They're another team that people may call anti-football, boring football. Football is so systematic at the moment. You need a good system to win, and that's what they've done. Debatably hard done by to get 9th. They genuinely could have got 7th or 8th, but after lockdown, their form went a bit south, and other teams started to get a bit better. But nevertheless, they've been outrageously impressive. Next was Arsenal. I predicted them 5th, the first Europa League spot, and they disappointingly got 8th, which they were quite lucky to do. They were basically 10th till the last day of the season, and they got a win today, of course. Yeah, I think they're a team that are definitely going to be on the up now. They've got rid of Emery, who was an awful manager on almost every account. when he can't speak the language, he just struggles to communicate with his players, and that's what you need in the Premier League. Yeah, so they're gonna probably be coming up as a team in the next couple of years, just because they've got a better squad. If they keep Aubameyang and players like that, they'll be a certain to make my prediction correct. But I couldn't predict that Emery was going to have the biggest downfall as he did have with Arsenal. Moving up to 7th is Wolves. I predicted them a mid-table finish. I just thought because they were so successful last season, as in they played over their limit, I thought, oh, you know what, they'll have a mid-table season just because they over-exceeded last season. They really didn't. They were brilliant this season. Again, Raul Jimenez wasn't a one-season wonder. He was excellent once again. The introduction of Adama Traore as a really good footballer this season has been excellent for them, and just their system is great. They've got so many fantastic players, and they're a joy to watch, I'll be absolutely honest. So I predicted them too low, and you've got to respect their manager an absolutely fantastic amount for what he's doing with Wolves and that system. Next is Spurs, who managed to get 6th on the last day of the season. Now, Mourinho's done a fantastic job getting them from 10th and 11th to 6th in the last day of the season. They've grabbed a Europa League spot, so they're absolutely buzzing by that. I predicted them to be 4th. Because I thought they had a really strong squad, and I wouldn't have expected Pochettino to go. I just assumed that he would have just continued where he left off, like a team that was in the Champions League final. So very impressive stuff. And yeah, I got that a bit wrong, but not too wrong. Next was I got wrong in the wrong way round, was Leicester came 5th, and I predicted them 7th. Now I actually could have been even more wrong, because they could have come 3rd or 4th. They were in 3rd for a lot of the season, and they ended up at 5th because of Chelsea, Man United, who managed to grab the Champions League spots. Now, a team that, again, were brilliant, but after lockdown, they lost a lot of their good players to quite bad injuries. So that's the reason that they dropped down the table at the end part of the season. Moving on to the top 4, we're starting with my team, Chelsea. I predicted us that we came 3rd, and we came 4th. Now, when I said 3rd, the amount of comments calling me delusional, silly, fair enough. A new manager in Frank Lampard, who's just come from the Championship. We've lost our best player in Hazard, and we had a transfer ban. But I had belief, and we came through. Now, obviously, I got wrong because we got 1 place down. We came joint 3rd on points with Man United, but we came 4th because of goal difference. I think that's close enough. That is probably one of the best ones that I've had to guess so far. I thought we did really well. I think we deserved 3rd, if I'm being perfectly honest. I don't think United did, with the amount of penalties they got. Anyway, we won't go into that. And speaking of 3rd, Man United did end up somehow coming 3rd. And I predicted them 6th. I just didn't believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the guy. I still don't think he's the guy. I think he's just got a bit lucky in this end part of the season, and I think their players have jammed it a bit, and they got a lot of penalties, and Bruno Fernandes has been pretty decent since coming in, and also they have a brilliant star at Mason Greenwood. He's going to go right to the very top indeed. So yeah, I think my prediction was fair and understandable, but they have over-exceeded, especially after lockdown. And moving into the top 2, Man City came 2nd, and I predicted them 1st. And the reason I thought this was just because I didn't think after winning a Champions League, Liverpool would have it in them. I thought they would just be like, wow, we've done that, now we're going to rest, and they would have got too cocky and things would have gone bad, but they nailed it. So Man City kind of... They dropped a lot of good points. Now, I think they are the best team in the league in terms of ability, and the team that I love watching the most. But as you can see, they didn't come 1st because Liverpool did, and Liverpool are probably the deserved winners in the fact that they win games better than City. They're probably not as good at football as City, but they win games better. And I predicted them 2nd. So Liverpool and Man City got 1 wrong each. And yeah, so Liverpool are the Premier League champions, and I did not predict that correctly, sadly. But yeah, they are my Premier League rankings, predictions, and the differences. Now, sadly, I didn't get a single one right, which is very embarrassing. But as I said, in a month and a bit, I will be releasing my Premier League predictions for the next season, and hopefully they will be right. I'll at least get 1 right, because this is pretty embarrassing. But let me know what you thought down below. Subscribe if you're new, drop a like on the channel, and I'll see you next time.